In 2000, Cedar Point and Intamin would work together to build the first ever full-circuit roller coaster over 300 feet tall. This would be Millennium Force, which broke the height and speed record and was the first ever Giga coaster, a title which Cedar Point and Intamin would create to describe this new class of roller coaster between 300 and 400 feet tall. Then, later that year, Steel Dragon 2000 at Nagashima Spa Land in Japan would open. Steel Dragon is also the world's longest coaster even today and is the only Giga coaster that D.H. Morgan Manufacturing would ever construct. We wouldn't see another Giga coaster built until 2010 when Intimidator 305 opened at King's Dominion. Then, B&M got involved in the Giga coaster game, building Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland in 2012, Fury 325 at Carowinds in 2015, and Orion at Kings Island in 2020. This was the last Giga coaster built, and it was 3 years ago. If we look at the timing of Giga coasters being built, it happens about every 3 to 5 years. But with the pandemic shutting down operations for a whole year, and big park investments hitting a low, will we ever see another Giga coaster built, or is the model done for good? In this video, we will discuss the potential parks that could possibly get a Giga coaster in the next 5 years or so. We will kick this video off with Six Flags Magic Mountain and Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm putting these in the same slot because they are, of course, both Six Flags parks, and they are arguably the two best parks in the chain. Magic Mountain has to be mentioned because they have been teasing a Giga of some variety, whether it is a Zamperla Giga Discovery, or a Giga Coaster, or just reopening the observation tower. So for that reason, we have to at least mention it and give it a spot on this list. It is the flagship Six Flags park, and as much as everyone is making fun of Six Flags right now for their huge decrease in investment before this year, they are showing that they are willing to throw some cash around right now. While that might not be on a signature attraction, it is at least a possibility. Plus, at some point Viper is going to reach the end of its service life. I know that is not something that the Viper and Aero fanboys want to think about, but the other mega loopers are long gone. Shockwave at Great America, Great American Scream Machine at Great Adventure, and Vortex at Kings Island have all said goodbye. It is only a matter of time before Viper is gone too. This would be the perfect plot for a Giga, and Magic Mountain should go big for its replacement. In fact, we actually made a concept rendering for a Giga in that plot, which I will link in the description. It is a different story for Six Flags Great Adventure. Everyone was hoping for a Giga for the park's 50th anniversary. That was not to be though. Great Adventure is adding a Vekoma Super Boomerang for next season, which will be a good addition if they can keep the line down. But it is still within the realm of possibility for this park to add one in the next 5 years or so seasons. To simply discount these huge Six Flags park from this discussion altogether is an oversight in my opinion. But there's a park that has a better chance of adding a Giga within the next few years, and that is Busch Gardens Williamsburg. This is a park that has filed permits at this point for 2 different projects in the last decade which were to exceed 300 feet in height, and neither have come to fruition. In the 2010s, they were looking to add a full circuit Giga coaster under the name Project Madrid. The park actually ended up using the permit for Project Madrid for Pantheon, which is far shorter than 300 feet, with Pantheon's backward spike reaching 178 feet in height. And then they also had another Giga coaster leaked under the name Drakenspeyer, a nod to their aerodynamics looper Drakenfire, which only operated for 6 years at the park in the 90s. The park again filed permits and was seemingly prepared for a massive addition, but COVID would put a damper on those plans, and this project went completely dormant for years. But in 2022, Busch Gardens Williamsburg filed for an extension of the permit, so this project is not yet dead. Originally, it was meant to be an Intamin Giga shuttle launch coaster. However, there are now doubts over that, and some have even speculated a massive RMC. A Giga iBox coaster would be limited by their current swing axle trains, which have a height limit of around 275 feet due to the speed that those trains can withstand. Or, every enthusiast's dream, maybe we get to see an RMC T-Rex Giga. The manufacturer has been teasing one like crazy, but we really can't believe them because they are always toying with us. One thing that we would all want is something that crosses the Rhine River. As this attraction is speculated to be located in the Germany section of the park, a coaster that would make use of this river would be awesome. Now, one thing we have to be cautious of is that this permit could also be for a new drop tower, as the park removed the very unpopular Mock Tower. This was one of the worst drop towers in the world. Pretty much no one liked it. Plus, Busch Gardens Tampa has one of the best drop towers in the world with the insane Falcon's Fury, which was ironically added the same year as Mock Tower. Falcon's Fury is an intimate drop tower with seats that rotate towards the ground and is the tallest freestanding drop tower in North America. So perhaps Busch Gardens Williamsburg opts to go for a new drop tower so that they can offer a similar kind of thrilling experience. But one thing that can't be doubted is that Busch Gardens Williamsburg is clearly a top candidate to build the next Giga coaster in America. They have a recent history of shopping for one and certainly have the budget. The SeaWorld parks have been adding new coasters like crazy, and the ultimate investment would be a massive coaster in 2025 for this park's 50th anniversary. And I feel certain about giving this prediction. If any park in America gets a Giga from a manufacturer other than B&M, it will be this one. Of course, I wouldn't discount a B&M Giga like some might due to them already having the B&M Hyper Apollo's Chariot because, as we know, all 3 B&M Gigas in North America were added to parks which already had B&M Hypers. Canada's Wonderland added Behemoth and then Leviathan, Carowinds added Intimidator not 305 and then Fury 325, and Kings Island added Diamondback and then Orion. Also, I want to give a mention to BGW fans who have done great work documenting everything. I will link their website in the description. Our next park on this list is Dollywood, Hershen's amazing Pigeon Forge, Tennessee theme park. This is a park that has really been ramping up its additions over the last decade or so, as they've added Wild Eagle, Fire Chaser Express, Lightning Rod, Whistle Punk Chaser, Dragon Flyer, and Big Bear Mountain. We have certainly seen the kind of budget they have. Big Bear Mountain costs $25 million, and that is only a family coaster. A massive triple launch family coaster, but a family coaster nonetheless. Orion and Fury 325 were both built at a cost of $30 million. So if we factor inflation in, plus the fact that Dollywood's terrain might make construction of a Giga a little more difficult, I think $35 million would maybe be the cost. I know this park can afford it. Hershen and Dollywood have a massive budget. The only question is whether or not this park maybe backs off the investments for some time after all the money they've invested into both new attractions and the Wildwood Grove section. This park was also considering adding a Giga dive coaster before the pandemic killed it, but that at least suggests they are in the market for this type of attraction. One thing we can all agree on is that a Giga is exactly what their lineup needs. A coaster with great sense of speed and sustained floater airtime. Plus, the terrain would provide a perfect opportunity for something we've never seen before on a Giga. B&M used Dollywood's terrain to perfection on Wild Eagle, their 2012 wing coaster. That attraction's lift hill goes right up the side of the hill in the middle of the park, providing spectacular views, and it makes good use of the terrain during the layout as well. This is a great opportunity for Dollywood to add something that would give them a top coaster lineup in the US and really solidify their spot as the top theme park in the Southeast. And the number one most likely park to add a Giga coaster is Busch Gardens Tampa. This is a park that has already added 3 B&M coasters with Kumba, a sit-down looper, Montu an invert, and Shikra, a dive machine. And, like the other parks we have mentioned, a Giga would fit perfectly into their lineup. This park has a pacing and ejector airtime machine with a recently opened Iron Gwazi, which clocks in at number 1 in the Vote Coasters poll. But what this huge park needs to round out its lineup is a floater airtime machine, similar to the gap Dollywood has in their lineup. Both parks have an elite RMC with outstanding pacing and ejector airtime, but they are lacking in the floater airtime department. This park never added a B&M Hyper like their sister park Busch Gardens Williamsburg either. This was initially thought to be a B&M wing coaster by enthusiasts, but it's actually turning out to be a B&M family invert. In my opinion though, it is a good sign for this park that they are staying on a strong addition schedule, even with the delayed opening of Iron Gwazi and all the problems the pandemic caused for them. They've pretty much gone 5 years at most between major additions since 2005. Plus, we've seen how many coasters are being added to all the SeaWorld parks right now. So even though their 2024 project isn't a Giga, I think that they will add one before the end of the 2020s. Plus, this would be the perfect attraction to really round out their lineup. We've also created a concept rendering for a Giga in this park, which I will link in the description. Overall, given this park's already strong lineup with a spot for a Giga, its budget, and its willingness to add huge projects, I think this is possibly the number 1 most likely park to add a B&M Giga within this decade. Which park do you think is most likely to add the next Giga coaster? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. We love to hear your opinions as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below as it really does help our channel out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.